This is part 5. Raven didn't answer. She was shackled, ankles chained to the wall, wrists bound with cold metal cuffs, a cruel reminder of Sandra's control. Adam knelt beside her, trembling. "I'm unlocking you," he said quietly. Raven flinched. "Why?" "Because I shouldn't have done it the moment she touched you." He reached for her wrist. She pulled back. "I don't trust you," she said. "I don't deserve it," he replied. He waited. Raven stared at him, eyes burning, then slowly she extended her arms. Adam unclipped the cuffs, one click, then the other. Her wrists were bruised, raw. He moved to her ankles. She didn't speak. He unlocked those two. Raven sat up slowly, wincing, her body aching. Adam placed a folded scrap of paper beside her, a hand-drawn map. "There's a service door in the basement," he said. "It leads to the woods. I'll distract Sandra. You'll have 10 minutes. Raven looked at the map, then at him. Then she punched him, hard, across the jaw. Adam stumbled back, stunned, hand to his face. "You deserve that," she said, voice low and shaking. He nodded, eyes watering. "I know." She didn't thank him, she didn't forgive him, but she was free, and that was enough. Adam stood, turned to the door, then paused. "If I don't come back, I'm sorry." Raven didn't answer. Raven didn't look at the map, not yet. She sat in silence, her wrist throbbing, her stomach aching, her heart shattered. Adam had left the door unlocked, but freedom wasn't just walking out. It was remembering who she was before Sandra's house swallowed her whole. She pressed her back against the wall, breathing through the pain, her fingers curled in a fist, the bruises on her skin blooming like warnings. She thought of Ashley, of her parents, of that baby, gone. All gone, yet she was still here, still breathing, still burning. She reached for the map slowly, not to study it, but to claim it. Her hand trembled as she unfolded the paper. The lands were shaky, the ink smudged, but it was a way out. And Raven knew if she escaped, she wouldn't just run, she would return. Not as a victim, as vengeance. She wiped her tears with the back of her hand, smeared blood across her cheek, and whispered to the empty room, "You took everything." Her voice was hoarse but steady. "I'm taking it back." She didn't cry again. She didn't hesitate. She began to move. Raven heard the scream before she saw the door fly open. "She's gone?" Sandra's voice tore through the house like a blade. Raven froze, her fingers still clutching the map. She had barely made it down the hallway barefoot, bleeding, heart pounding like a war drum. Adam had lied for her, and now Sandra knew. Footsteps thundered above, a crash, a door slammed, then silence. Raven ducked in the laundry room, heart in her throat. She pressed herself against the dryer, the metal cold against her spine, her breath coming in short, sharp bursts. She could hear Sandra moving fast, furious, mechanical. "She's not smart enough to get far," Sandra hissed. "She's weak. She's mine." Raven's hand shook. She looked down at the map, now crumpled and damp with sweat. The exit was closed, the back door, past the cellar, past the room where Ashley had died. She had to go through the memory to get out. The floor creaked above her, then silence. Raven stepped out slowly and carefully. Her feet made no sound on the tile. She moved like a prey, every muscle taut, every breath calculated. She reached the cellar door. It was open. A trap or a gift? She stepped inside. Darkness swallowed her. Behind her, Sandra's voice echoed down the hall. "Raven," soft now, mocking. "I know where you are." Raven didn't run. She descended down the stairs one by one into the place where everything had ended and where something new would begin. Chapter 9. The cellar was colder than Raven remembered. She moved through it like a ghost, her bare feet silent on the concrete. The air smelled of mildew and something older, something rotten beneath the surface. She found the filing cabinet on the corner, half buried under a tarp in a broken crib. It groaned when she reopened it. Inside folders, dozens. She pulled one out. Sandra Lynn Holloway, former nurse, accused in patient deaths. Her breath caught. Another article. Adam Holloway, cleared an assistant suicide case, but the photos told the truth. Victims, dates, handwritten notes, and red inks. She begged me. He was rotting away anyway. Raven's hand shook. She flipped to another folder. Her name, her photo. A note, too soft, needs breaking. Her stomach turned. She dropped the folder, backing away. That's when she heard it. The creak of the cellar door. Raven spun around. Sandra stood at the top stairs, her silhouette sharp against the dim light. "You weren't supposed to see that," she said softly. Raven grabbed the crowbar from beneath the mattress. My mind. Sandra descended slowly, one step at a time. "You think you're the first?" she whispered. "You think Adam didn't choose you?" Raven's grip tightened. You killed Ashley. Sandra smiled. She was weak like you. Raven lunged. The crowbar swung wide. Grabbing Sandra ducked, grabbed Raven's wrist, twisted. Raven screamed. They crashed into the filing cabinet, papers flying. Sandra slammed Raven against the wall. You were never meant to leave, she hissed. Raven kicked out, catching Sandra in the ribs. She broke free, swung the crowbar. It hit Sandra's shoulder with a crack. Sandra shrieked, stumbled. Raven ran. Sandra got up and ran after her. You can't escape, you bitch, screamed Sandra. Raven finally got outside, but she didn't have time to enjoy the air. Sandra was after her. Raven ran into the woods. Raven, get back here, she screamed Sandra so loud that the birds in the trees scattered away. Sandra's voice shattered the quiet so loud the birds in the trees scattered like ash. Raven ran. Her feet tore through the grass, over roots and rocks, into the woods that bordered the property. Branches clawed at her skin, twigs snapped beneath her. The map was gone, the crowbar was gone. All she had was her body, her fury, and the truth. She didn't look back, she couldn't. The trees closed around her, thick and dark, and they felt like allies now, wild and untamed like her. Sandra crashed into the woods behind her, screaming her name like a curse. Raven! Raven ducked beneath a fallen log, scraped her knees, kept going. She remembered the folder, too soft, knees breaking. She remembered Ashley's eyes. She remembered the baby. She ran harder. The words grew thicker. The moon barely pierced the canopy. Her breath came in ragged grabs. Her legs burned in silence. No footsteps, no noise. Raven stopped, pressed herself against a tree, listening. A twig snapped too close. She turned, ready to run again, and saw Sandra 10 feet away, bleeding, smiling. You think the woods will save you? She whispered. You think you're strong now? Raven didn't answer. She picked up a rock, heavy, sharp, real. Sandra stepped forward. Raven raised her arm, and this time she didn't run. Sandra's laughter died in her throat. She took one step closer. Raven didn't flinch, but her grip on the rock tightened, then cracked. Sandra's body jerked sideways. She collapsed to the ground with a grunt, stunned. Behind her stood Adam, breathless, pale, holding a thick branch like a weapon. His eyes missed Raven's, not pleaded, not proud, just broken. She was going to kill you, he said, voice low. She's done it before. Sandra groaned, trying to rise. Adam raised the stick again. Run, Raven. Raven hesitated. She looked at Sandra, bleeding, snarling, still dangerous. She looked at Adam, torn, trembling, maybe just as dangerous. Then she turned and ran through the trees into the dark towards something she didn't know yet. But it wasn't Sandra, and it wasn't silence. It was survival. Chapter 10. Raven ran. Branches whipped her face. Thorns tore at her legs. Her breath came in jagged bursts, each one sharper than the last. The woods were endless. She didn't know how long she'd been running. Minutes, hours. Her body screamed for rest, but her mind kept replaying Sandra's voice, Adam's face, the folder with her name. Too soft, needs breaking. She pushed harder, the trees thin, the ground slop, and then light, bright, blinding, headlights. Raven stumbled out of the woods, arms failing just as the car swerved, tires screeching. She collapsed to her knees, pounding hard. The car stopped inches from her. The door flew open. A man stepped out, uniform, badge, gun. Hey, he shouted, rushing toward her. Are you hurt? Raven tried to speak, but nothing came out. She looked up at him, eyes wide, blood on her face, dirt in her hair. I need help, she whispered. The officer knelt beside her, already reaching for his radio. You're safe now, he said. I've got you. But Raven wasn't sure what safe meant anymore. She just knew she wasn't in the woods, and Sandra wasn't the one holding her. The flashing lights painted the trees red and blue. Raven sat on the edge of the road, wrapped in a blanket, her legs trembling. Blood soaked through the fabric, but she barely felt it. Paramedics moved quickly, checking her vitals, speaking in clipped tones. She's lost a lot of blood, possible concussion. Get her in the ambulance. But Raven wasn't silent. She was speaking fast, broken, urgent. There's a house, she said, back there in the woods. They took me. They hurt me. The officer knelt beside her again, notebook in hand. Who hurt you? Sandra Holloway, her son Adam. They killed people. There are files in the cellar. Her voice cracked. They killed Ashley. The officer's face hardened. You're saying there are bodies? No, Raven said, not buried, but names, photos. They keep records like trophies. The paramedic gently guided her onto the stretcher. We'll take care of you, he said. Raven nodded, tears streaking her face. As he loaded her into the ambulance, she turned her head and saw them. Sandra handcuffed, screaming at the officers. You idiot, she's lying. She's a manipulative little... Adam stood beside her, silent, cuffed, eyes downcast. Raven stood at him. He looked up. Their eyes met, no words, just history. Then the doors closed, and Raven was gone. Raven's eyes fluttered open to a ceiling that was too white, the air thick with bleach and something metallic. Her body felt heavy, wrapped in bandages, pain blooming in places she couldn't name. She tried to move, but a sharp ache shot through her ribs. "Don't," said a voice, calm, male, close. Turning her head slowly, she saw a man beside her head, dressed in scrubs with a stethoscope looped around his neck. He was tall with dark hair pulled back loosely and amber eyes that didn't blink too often. He looked like someone who didn't rush, someone who waited. "You're in the hospital," he said. "You've been unconscious for 3 days." Unconscious for 3 days, sorry. Raven stared at him. She didn't know his name. She didn't know if she could trust him. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice hoarse. "Dr. Elis Hart," he whispered. "I'm your attending physician." She looked down at her hands, IVs, bruises, a hospital bracelet. She was real. She was alive. "I was in the woods," she whispered. "Sandra was chasing me." Elis nodded slowly. "The police found you. You were bleeding badly. You're safe now." She didn't answer. Safe was a word people used too easily. Elise didn't push. Or not Elise. Ellis didn't push. He checked her vitals, adjusted her IV, made a note on his tablet, then paused. "You're lucky," he said quietly. "You fought hard." Raven looked at him. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't pitying her. He was just there, present, professional. But something in his voice made her chest tighten, not because she knew him, but because for the first time in a long time, someone saw her. 1 year later, the sun did blow over the lake, casting gold across the water. Raven sat barefoot on the dock, her legs curled beneath her, a blanket draped over her shoulders. Ellis stood behind her, hands in his pockets, watching the way the light touched her hair. They had been together for months now, not rushed, not perfect, but real. He walked over and sat beside her, closed enough that their shoulders touched. "You warm enough?" he asked. She nodded. "I like the cold," she said. "It reminds me I'm alive." He smiled and reached into his jacket pocket. "I've been thinking about something," he said. She turned to him, curious. He held out a small box, simple, unadored. Inside a ring, silver delicate, with a tiny stone that caught the fading light. Excuse me. "I don't want to fix you," he said. "I just want to be beside you every day." Raven stared at the ring, then at him. Her heart thudded. "You're serious?" "I've never been more." She didn't cry, she didn't tremble, she just nodded. "Yes." He slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit. Then he leaned in, kissed her, soft, steady, and full of quiet promise. She kissed him back, her hand resting gently on his cheek. It wasn't a kiss of rescue, it was a kiss of arrival. They sat in silence for a while, the lake whispering beneath them. Then Ellis pulled out his phone. "Have you seen the news?" he asked. She shook her head. He opened the live stream, the courtroom, the verdict. Sandra Holloway and Adam Holloway, sentenced to death for multiple counts of murder, conspiracy, and abuse. Raven watched the screen. Sandra looked defiant. Adam looked empty. The judge's voice was final. Raven didn't speak. She just leaned into Ellis, her hand resting over his heart. The past was over. The pain wasn't gone, but she was no longer alone, and that changed everything. The end. And I did dedicate it to my mom, even though their names are in the book as Raven's moms. But for my parents, Elder Roberts, who passed away last year, and my dad, Richard Robert, who died 2024. I will let you guys read the dedication because it's hard for me, but this was a kind of hard book to write. Some of it, a lot of it is not really like, it was just difficult. It's like some of the things I went through, but not exactly like it. So, anyways, there's this one.